Welcome to Wendy's After the Eviction. I'm here with Renee. Renee, why? How?
Like, where do you even begin? I laid out so many bricks and things, and I've had so many conversations, and I was this close to bringing it through, but it fell short at the last second. It was a hard one. I fought right until the end. I made my cases. I made very strong cases. I think that they were persuasive, but I think I was also left with a very stubborn tie. So that was my Achilles heel at the end of it.
Is this really like hitting you? Have you processed this yet? Or is it like you're in the ether still?
No, I haven't processed anything. Even going into the house and going through my whole experience, like starting with dead last and rolling through with that.
Whoa. Yeah. We're going to do it. We're going to do it, okay? Here we go. Dead last. Surviving multiple times on the block.
Yep.
Okay. Slop.
Yeah. So much
HOH. Right? You got a veto used on you. You survived a double.
I did.
You got blamed for something you didn't do because, of course, we know that, of course, you were not the
It was not freaking me, guys. I made the worst bid ever. Oh, gosh.
So you really did, like, everything but the win. I said that to Kuzi, too. You played the hell out of this game. It was so fun to watch because of that. So are you proud of yourself?
I am so proud of myself with the game that I've played. I went in there wanting to play a very strong game, but I had to work with what I got. And I said it from the beginning of the game that, yes, a big part of the game is played with competitions, but the biggest stage is played within the house. And that's where I think I thrived. So I'm proud that I got here. You know, I'm very hard on myself, so I really saw myself getting to that final three, and it was so clear that I wish I could have pulled out a little bit more to get there. However, with what I was left with, and the biggest variable being like the people you're left with, it was a very tough one to win. But I am so proud I made it here to final five, considering from dead last and feeling like I wasn't going to make it through the first 20 days. I am so dang proud that I made it this far.
Yes, Renee.
Yes.
Do you have any regrets?
I think the one regret I have is not connecting a bit more with Kuzi. I think we saw the game very similarly. However, I do know that at one point in time she was trying to target me and or wanted to break up my group. We weren't looked at as a very strong group until later in the game when we still had the numbers in final six. So I'm very proud about that, but I do think connecting a little bit more with her could have been maybe a good thing and or a bad thing. And yeah, I feel like I played the best that I could. I don't really have too many regrets. I think I would have played it very similarly. Mm-hmm. So. Okay,
now from this perspective, now that you're out, right, which is like, oh, what's the worst thing that could happen? You know, you get evicted, but you're here now.
I am.
Was there any type of like nuclear button that you could have pressed that you didn't?
Yes, I think exposing a little bit more of Daniel C's game, I could have pulled that card and say that, you know what, there are so many times that he's been in on a conversation and or saying that he will target Ty, and he's not afraid to get rid of Ty. I don't know the extent of him and Ty's relationship throughout the game, so that's a big factor that maybe was protecting him. But for me, there was no point in pulling out those cards because that changes me as a player and how I wanted to do the game. I only pull out nuclear bombs when I feel like it'll be something that'll help me in the game, and I feel like at that point Ty had his mind really made up, and he was using any reason that he could to solidify that.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about your girly pops. Okay.
Yeah.
Most hilarious alliance name ever. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. It's true. You were underestimated. You said it yourself, and then it was pulling out win after win after win, like you were dominating for a while, but it all came crashing down. So what happened?
Well, yeah, we pulled out, Claudia set the chain. She pulled out the first win for us where we actually could feel like we were safe. However, I did feel a little wonky with my alliance for a little bit after the Fatal Feast. I saw that I was maybe left out of conversations and not in things as much as I thought, and there could be something bigger going on. So I played it very careful. Even though I felt safe with Claudia and that she wouldn't put me up, it did make me question bringing the alliance to the final three with Shania, because the personal element of it, I feel like Shania would have beat me at the end if Claudia was thinking personally for who to take to final two if it ended up that way. So I knew at that point I was sitting for the first time that I felt like I didn't do enough in the house and I needed to do more and I needed something to shift the dynamic completely. And that's when my HOH came through and I was able to have the conversations and start really solidifying with people and reiterating the fact that I'm not just this player that'll sit by and do this. I am someone to take farther because my strategies, I think, were getting me far up until that point, and I know how to sit down and break down the game.
Yeah, no, it's true, though. You started the game having to play, being forced to play defensively, and it takes a while to shake that, and it comes with power, and then you got that. So at least you got that part of it, because you were like, oh, suddenly the doors are open.
One perk. I was praying for one perk because I went through all the obstacles that you can get in BBCAN. I wanted the one perk, so I got it.
Okay, so let's talk about Ty and Claudia quickly because
what do you even call them at that point? Like,
nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Me either. I was third wheeling that for a majority of the time. Did you see that? That would have been the oddest dynamic.
But I want to know how you felt because on paper, you were a very solid 3. On paper.
Yes.
What kind of dynamic did Ty bring into that, considering he was really connected with just one of the members?
Well, me and Ty have had a great relationship throughout the game in terms of just touching base from time to time. He has multiple times said, I want your loyalty, I want to work with you, I want to move forward with you. But to me, his version of loyalty at the time was more like, I need you to do what I say. And that just don't work with me. And I knew he knows as well that we were going to have difference of opinions on that. So for him to come into our dynamic, it was great because he can pull out those wins and he can pull off a move like pull the veto, take Claudia off, and then vote me in. However, the dynamic with Claudia, I knew that she would view that play as stronger to keep going on with if he were to turn, which is exactly what happened.
In that double, my God, what was that like living through?
First of all, it took a lot of work to keep you off the block, Ty. So I was like, why would you just go pull a move like that and blindside us? But in hindsight, I know, like, after when we were talking about it, it was just more of the discussion of, like, looking at all the perspectives before you make a big move like this. However, it did work out game-wise in terms of, you know, Nene was a very loved player and she was sitting really nicely in the house for a really long time to where she didn't really have to sweat too much. So to keep that moving on would put me and Claudia at risk before Nene. So it was a great move and the right move. However, the whole problem here was being transparent and letting us know what you're going to do before you do it, not go do it and then tell us. Like,
that was wild to watch. Okay, so listen, you're going to jury. Who do you want to be following you to jury?
The
shady
petty, bitter side of me wants to say Ty. But because I do think that there's, you know, like a juju in the house that, you know, if you kick me out or you try to put me on the block, you're the next one up. It's actually like a pattern. However, the real side of me just wants to say Anika. I think it's very hard to see what her game's like, and I've caught her in lies multiple times. We've sat in rooms now with Ty. He loves to bring the people together to talk and mediate. Yeah. So I've caught her in a bunch of lies. I don't know if I respect that gameplay. I get that it gets you far, and on that note, like, you have your place there, and that's great. But I would like to see someone at the end that got there with, you know, a little bit more of that hustle and that grind.
Well, we're very sad to see you go. I want to say I've been doing this a long time, and you are hands down one of the most resilient, tough hustlers that I've seen. And coming from me, that's a huge compliment.
That's I will take that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Renee.
Thank you.
Oh my God, I hate to see the bootay go. Hate it.
I know. I almost was there.
Well, listen, as we've seen all season long, there is never a dull moment here on Big Brother Canada. The house guests are always keeping it fresh, and so is Wendy's. Start your morning off right with their new egg BLT sandwich. It's available only until May 28th. Oh my God, Renee. I wish I could hug you so tight.
I know.